Come on for the boys. Give her a box. Give her another one. Give her another one. Yeah, Barbie Kardashian broke up.
Can I have the sunglasses back?
No, you can't. You're lucky you don't get another out.
So, Pat, it's hard not to feel sorry for Barbie Kardashian looking at that video. I mean, it's not nice to look at anybody getting roughed up. But this is a really complex case and character. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about that assault.
Yeah, well, it's an assault that happened at like 9 o'clock in the evening on Delir Street. Barbie was walking along the road. Two men called out. Initially, Barbie ignored them. The two men approached. Barbie stopped, believing that this was one of the usual interactions that Barbie has had since getting out of prison. It wasn't. The men got closer. One of them was recording, and then one of them hit Barbie full force in the face.
So we're going to talk a little bit about who Barbie Kardashian is. And first of all, sorry, you have met Barbie Kardashian. You've stood, you've spoken to the former prisoner who made threats against her parents after coming out of jail, and who has been the subject of much media attention. We're going to talk all about all of that. But first of all, how did you find Barbie when you were face to face? A small person.
Yeah, certainly not the character that you would have expected. I think from having read the stories over nearly the past decade now about Barbie Kardashian, people have this image of who Barbie is, the threats that Barbie has made against her parents, against the governor of Limerick prison, I mean, against prison officers, against care workers. I mean, the level of violence in those threats has created an image of Barbie Kardashian in people's heads. And that image is of a person who is pure evil. When you meet Barbie Kardashian, you meet somebody who doesn't conform to that image at all. You're meeting a person who's articulate, a person who seems well educated, a person who doesn't have a filter, who no matter what question you ask, Barbie will answer. And when you're speaking to Barbie, you get the impression that that answer is genuinely what Barbie believes.
Is there a sense of vulnerability?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Very complex character, because we're going to go through what has been said in court and a bit of history. So Barbie Kardashian was born 23 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And was born a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And this is a bit, we're struggling a little bit here to try and keep to calling Barbie by her name. The name that has been changed by deed poll. It's a little bit of a complex story, and the state has a role to play in all of this as well.
Yeah.
And we know that Barbie was first put into the female prison in Limerick, which caused controversy, etc. But anyway, we're going to go into a little bit about the background. So Barbie ends up in care at the age of 12.
Yeah, actually, it was even before that. Barbie went into care as a 9-year-old.
9-year-old boy. Yeah,
as a 9-year-old boy. Yeah, absolutely. She was born a male. Went into care at the age of 9. Had a high court order handed down, directing specific care as a 12-year-old. At that stage, Barbie had told the Gardaí that she had as a child, there had been physical and sexual abuse. From that point onwards, Barbie remained in the care system. So up until the age of 19. Now in her time in Cuva House, the last 2 years that she was in care, it's a facility for children with very serious behavioral issues. Barbie made threats. There was threats made against a care worker. There was also very, very serious threats made against her mother. Threats of the nature that Barbie was going to go to her to this woman's house.
Yeah.
Basically hold her there and rape her and torture her with implements, including a screwdriver and boiling water. Now, when Barbie appeared in court in connection with those threats.
At what age was that?
At that stage, when Barbie appeared in court, Barbie was 21.
Right.
So it would have taken that amount of time from the allegations being made known and investigated, and then Barbie ended up in court. So Barbie was 21, went into court, was asked about the threats, and didn't attempt to walk back on those threats. Judge Tom O'Donnell was looking at somebody who had been in care from the age of 9 to 21 inside in his courtroom, and he asked for psychiatric reports. And 5 different psychiatrists gave reports on Barbie Kardashian. They said that there was elements of post-traumatic stress disorder, that Barbie had personality disorders, and all the reports agreed that this was somebody that there was a serious risk could actually carry out these fantasies. And that was something Judge Tom O'Donnell was very worried about. I mean, Barbie was given a 5-year sentence, but it was the aftercare that that Judge O'Donnell was worried about, and he made recommendations for what would happen when Barbie got out of prison.
So in care up until her 17th birthday, she was in Cuva House in Limerick, a residential facility for these high-risk and vulnerable children, right? But there was an extension order placed on that after her 17th birthday, and she remained there. That order was due to expire shortly before she was turned 19. And at this point, she's taken into custody at the women's section of Limerick Prison. That's in late September 2020, after appearing before Limerick District Court. How does this happen?
Well,
because this was controversial.
Yeah, it was. Barbie got a gender recognition certificate in 2020. And
just before going into prison. September 2020, going into Limerick Prison.
Yeah, the timeline would certainly match. But saying that, Barbie had, even during the trial, Barbie had made it clear that that the preferred gender she wanted to go by was a woman.
Okay.
It formed part of the trial. So Barbie got this gender recognition certificate.
How do you apply for that, or where do you apply for it? Do you know? Or certainly it did come up actually in the presidential election, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was legislation that was brought in that gave people who felt that they had been born in the incorrect gender,
or they wanted to identify in a particular gender, they could apply for this and get it. But it doesn't necessarily relate to people who've had surgery.
To the best of my knowledge,
can or it can't. So it depends on who wants to identify as what. So anyway, she gets this certificate, which means that the state puts her into Limerick Women's Prison.
Yeah, that's
that doesn't go down brilliantly.
Well, it seems that in the beginning, Barbie was sent into the women's prison. She had 15 convictions already at this stage, everything from threats to kill to sexual assault. So there's people convicted of sexual assault are kept in specific areas of the prison. Barbie was on protection in the women's prison, but during the course of her time there, she had fallings out with one other inmate in particular who Barbie made rape threats against. Barbie also had a falling out with a prison officer. She made threats of sexual assault against that prison officer. And subsequently, she was charged in relation to that. She appeared in court on those charges, and Barbie testified in court that she had made those made those threats. Barbie spoke about, wanting to carry out those threats, what the motivation was. And at the end of the trial, the jury found Barbie not guilty on all counts. I think that verdict caused a lot of surprise especially amongst people working in the prison system. Barbie was found not guilty, and subsequently Barbie was moved into the men's prison.
Right. On foot of intervention by the then Justice Minister Helen McEntee.
Yeah, my understanding is a directive was given to the Irish Prison Service that Barbie was to be moved out of the women's prison and into the men's prison.
Okay. Whether she's found guilty or not, it's been alleged within the prison and complained about that she's made these threats of sexual assault within the women's prison, but she's making threats of rape. They're saying she's previous history of that.
Yeah.
And she has since been released.
And Barbie testified in court.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
I did, but she was still found not guilty. Okay, so it's a complex again situation. So Barbie is then moved into the male prison.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So how does that go?
So Barbie was put on D1, which is a high protection area. I mean, we'd be familiar with that area of the prison because Jonathan Dowdall, after he was jailed, he was put on that landing. Freddie Thompson was also put on that landing for a short time. So these would be prisoners that are considered at severe risk if they were to be put into the general prison population.
And we can only imagine why. I mean, prison's a pretty rough place, and anybody a bit different or anything like that is going to really get, they're certainly not going to be welcomed. It's not a very PC place, is it, prison?
Well, it's going to be particularly dangerous for somebody who makes threats of the nature that Barbie Kardashian makes.
Yeah.
And in an effort to keep Barbie Kardashian placed, Barbie was put in a prison cell and kept there 23 hours a day.
Right.
There was a report carried out by the Europe's Committee for the Prevention of Torture that was released in 2025. It didn't identify Barbie Kardashian. Barbie was identified as prisoner X.
Yes.
But it found that Barbie was kept in dungeon-like conditions 23 hours a day, and it raised concerns that a transgender person would be kept in these circumstances. But our prison system is such that, the protection of the inmates is primary.
Yeah.
And
I mean, could you see, the prison service as well, and prisons and all the rest of it, how they work. Can you see an alternative to how Barbie, as a complex case, could be housed within the prison system? It's really hard to think.
The prison system at the moment is so overcrowded. Nobody has it easy inside in prisons. Access to jobs, access to training, access to education. These have all been reduced because the numbers of people inside in our prisons are so high, and there's been so little done to rectify that situation. Another prison should have been built years ago.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. So that means that everybody, regardless of what their status is, the conditions in prison have deteriorated. The alternative with Barbie Kardashian would be somebody with the level of mental health difficulties. The alternative is obvious, that instead of sending a person like this to prison, that they are put in someplace like the Central Mental Hospital. Now, we don't know the reasons that Barbie Kardashian wasn't committed to the Central Mental Hospital, but there does seem to have been the evidence there. Now, I mean,
we can speculate that it could be again a resource issue, could it? Because there's 80, 90 people in Central Mental Hospital at any one time, and we do know that people are let out of the Central Mental Hospital that probably shouldn't be at times, and it's another sort of. It is another institution of the state that is probably not working perfectly. Let's say that. I mean, there's people in it who are doing their damnedest and their best. It's the same way as there is people in the prison service doing their absolute best. But it's just not a perfect institution. A few of the things that were said about Barbie Kardashian during those psychiatrist reports, it was noted that she was displaying signs of PTSD, and she had claimed she was sexually and physically abused when she was a minor. She provided reams of pages of handwritten notes about how she feels driven to carry out acts of violence due to this childhood trauma. The the psychiatrist said that she had these multiple personality disorders, but they felt that she was kind of moving towards and could pretty much at any time carry out these fantasies. And I think that particularly is in and around her parents, which seem to be central and always, you know, when she makes these threats as a child, as a young adult, and even in the aftermath of being released from prison. So there is real fears by psychiatrists that these fantasies could be carried out, okay? Multiple personality disorders. And, you know, they're describing somebody with a lot of mental health illnesses that is staying within institutions which are already grinding. And even it was noted that when released, it was very important to have significant post-release supervisor plan in place. Actually, Barbie's own senior counsel said that you know, it was important for that, but that he was not qualified to know what to do. That it had to be up to somebody else. But he said, "My client is a person who's young, confused, and who has several personality disorders." So he even admits that himself. Now, the probation report also finds that Barbie Kardashian has narcissistic tendencies and a desire to be at the centre of attention. She pleaded not guilty to certain charges in order to make sure that members of staff, and this was in her care facility in Cuva House, that they became uncomfortable by her at that point, and to also, it says, garner much publicity as possible for herself, right? So she's in the men's prison and in this isolation, which is then being criticised because it's inhumane, essentially. We can't find or consider how else she could be housed, given that the priority of the prison service is to keep Barbie Kardashian alive.
Yeah.
And then Barbie Kardashian is released.
And the first thing that Barbie Kardashian does when she walks out of prison is she makes fresh threats against her mother and against the governor of Limerick prison.
And makes them on video, Pat, as well.
And makes them on video.
Yeah.
And the thing was that there was a post-release plan in place for Barbie Kardashian. And we've seen this hundreds of times when we've been, you know, waiting outside prisons for high-profile offenders to be released. And that involves a van coming and taking the person away from the prison. My understanding is that arrangement was in place on the day of Barbie Kardashian's release, but Barbie wasn't going to miss out on her chance before the cameras. So Barbie walked out, made more threats, very, very serious threats. And the threat against the governor of Limerick prison was a particularly violent one. And then went back and was taken up to Dublin by the probation services, where a system had been put in place for Barbie, an arrangement had been put in place. Accommodation was going to be provided. There was going to be probation officers monitoring Barbie, ensuring Barbie's safety.
Does that mean pretty much living with her or being there available?
I think it's a mix of both. Like everything Barbie did in the wake of being released from prison was being monitored by people on their phones. There was countless videos that showed Barbie Kardashian in the presence of probation officers, you know, walking places, going into shops. Even on the Friday after Barbie's release, when I spoke with Barbie, there was probation officers with her who walked away. You know, it's not their role to intervene; it's just their role to try and help Barbie to reintegrate into society as best as possible. But
it must be costing a fortune.
These things aren't cheap.
No,
they're not. But I suppose the state has a responsibility, you know, to try and do their best by this person, and you can't walk away from the fact this is somebody who is in state care from the age of 9. And yet in that time, from 9 to the present day, despite all the best efforts, all the interaction with mental health professionals,
it is as we see it. You know,
Yes.
I mean, things are not good there. I mean, Barbie Kardashian is, you know, being beaten up on the street.
Yeah.
Barbie Kardashian is on social media.
Yeah.
Every hand's turn, is courting publicity, which isn't always responsible journalists. There's plenty of people out there with phones now willing to take a video, and the more sort of gaudy and
I suppose the tragic,
dramatic, the better for them.
well, the tragic thing about this is it's a somewhat vicious circle. Barbie wants the attention.
Yes.
So when Barbie is approached in the street and these people call out Barbie Kardashian
and put up the phones,
she goes in, or Barbie puts on a show.
Yes.
It's something that Barbie is,
and has been psychiatrically assessed as that being part of our condition.
Yeah.
Right. There's also the fact that the psychiatrists have said these threats aren't always going to be idle.
No.
You know, there will be a time when Barbie will be, or could be, in a position to act out on them.
Yeah, they certainly said they had strong fears.
Strong fears
Barbie
about that.
could realise these threats.
And it just feels as if Barbie Kardashian is as much a risk to herself as possibly to the people she threatens.
Well, I think what we saw in the video of Barbie being assaulted, had you not known Barbie Kardashian's background, you would have been looking at a person wearing a pair of wearing a pajama top, a
pink Hello Kitty thing,
pajama top, walking along the street, and two thugs assaulting this person. And I know when I spoke to Barbie on Saturday, Barbie seemed very happy that the video had been shared because it was going to give Barbie attention. Which Barbie wants attention, and will say that to you. You know, it won't try and shy away from that. Barbie said, "I'm sad I was assaulted, but I'm happy that this video is out there because people will be talking about me." There's you're not dealing with you're not dealing with a mentality that you're not dealing with a normal mentality. You are dealing with somebody who's vulnerable.
Barbie Kardashian certainly is looking vulnerable out on the street on her own, and it's looking almost like there's something medieval about it. The idea that this person looks this particular way and acts this particular way, so people are making fun, and Barbie obviously likes the publicity. So you can just see this all going wrong, can't you? You know, it's not always going to be friendly and a tussle. I mean, that was a physical attack. Barbie Kardashian doesn't hit back.
No.
She sort of cowers and puts up her hand to protect herself. But the psychiatrists believe that Barbie Kardashian is certainly complex enough to carry out some of those horrific threats that she's made against people.
Yeah.
So you've got this really bad situation. And I did look up before we came in to talk about it, you know, about somebody being committed to psychiatric care, and the Central Mental Hospital is psychiatric care for people who are at risk to themselves or others. And it takes a guard to go in and bring this individual to identify that this individual is a risk to themselves or others, to bring them in to a GP. A GP will send them on to hospital, where they have to be assessed within 24 hours. And then it's decided whether or not they should be admitted, sometimes against their will, but the state essentially makes the decision. That seems like an easy way of doing things, but that's only in a perfect system, and we just don't have that, do we?
Well, I think when one of the things they say when you're considering that context is that it should be a very last resort.
Yes.
So I think where the probation service are at the moment, my understanding is that they're doing their best to reintegrate Barbie Kardashian into society. And
in a way that's safe to Barbie and to people she threatens.
And to the public.
And to the public, yeah.
And, you know, Barbie has been out of prison for over a month now. I've spoken to Barbie twice, and both times Barbie said that, you know, in general, things are going well. She's made very serious threats against people. But if you put that to one side, Barbie hasn't actually done anything to raise fears that, you know, that
these fantasies are becoming a reality, or that she's capable of making them a reality.
Yeah. So it's a very difficult balancing act for the state, because what are the options? You know, like, it's a very difficult case for the state to deal with.
And it's difficult for us as a media to work out what to do with it, because, okay, we're able to sit here and give all the background as to why we're talking about Barbie Kardashian at all.
Yeah.
But we're not on social media just videoing Barbie Kardashian walking down the street getting walloped.
No.
But we feel a bit uncomfortable with the whole thing too, don't we? Like, it's difficult to know whether by talking about this we're doing the right thing or the wrong thing.
Well, yeah. One of the things that you can't ignore is that now everything is going up on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a person attacked inside in Delir Street at 9:00 in the evening without provocation. So that's a story that we'd be covering anyway, regardless of the person's background. If somebody put up a video of somebody being assaulted without provocation in the city centre, that's a story that we cover. We also cover stories when people who have displayed dangerous tendencies get out of prison. We cover those all the time. Like, as a newspaper, it's one of the things that we have always believed, is that people have a right to know if there's a dangerous offender living in your area. I don't think that we have changed the rules for Barbie Kardashian. I think we have very much, you know, done what this newspaper has always done. But at the same time, we have also spoken with Barbie to try and put some context on this, because the social media videos that people see, they don't have any context. You just see this person who's, you know, saying these things, or who's, you know, clowning around and making seemingly explicit gestures. But there's a very real psychological aspect to this, that somebody who is deeply damaged and has been that way for a long time is out there. So yeah, it's a difficult line to navigate. But. And
then in speaking to Barbie, you're seeing both the vulnerability of her, but you're also seeing
danger,
the aspects of what the psychiatrists have said.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Barbie likes this publicity and is narcissistic and
and is making extremely credible threats of violence.
I just don't know if we're qualified for this at all.
Yeah.
Us, along with pretty much, you know, all the other areas of the state who have been charged with sort of showing some responsibility around
maybe
dealing with somebody like Barbie.
Well, maybe that shows why this has been such a long haul for the state, because you were dealing with a deeply complex character rather than, you know, some sort of caricature of a villain.
Yeah.
That, you know, there are two sides to this. There's the vulnerable person you see on the video on Thursday evening, and then there is also the person who's making these, you know,
and has also got convictions for actual crime.
Yeah,
it's not just all threats; it's serious crimes
as
well.
Are serious crimes.
Yeah. Well, Pat O'Connell, thank you very much. I'm Nicola Tallant, and you're watching Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs, and the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you can be the first to watch all our latest episodes. You can also listen wherever you get your podcasts.